Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Lucamus Prime here, so it's time for a next episode of Movie Didn't Need a Sequel, and today, guys, I'm going to be covering, in today's video, a comedy movie, well, action comedies, to be specific, and this is a comedy film released in 2017, guys, which in my opinion, should have only worked best as a standalone movie, in my opinion, and this is a film in which the two main characters are played by Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. And this comedy movie, guys, is none other than 2017's The Hitman's Bodyguard. So, yeah, now, when it comes to what I think of this movie, guys, I think it's a really fun, guilty pleasure to watch, in my opinion. You know, it's definitely, a really fun, turn off your brain type of comedy movie, really. It's definitely really fun, really, to be honest. And definitely, I definitely have a great enjoyment out of it. It's definitely pretty funny as well, in many areas, too. Really fun to watch. And you've got Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson in the movie, and they're definitely really fun to watch as well. And sure, Ryan Reynolds does tend to use many of his Deadpool aspects in this film, which is understandable because it's a comedy movie, but, still it's a comedy film, so I can tolerate him being like Deadpool in this. And Samuel Jackson in this movie is definitely pretty funny as his character Darius Kincaid, and you've got other great characters too. For example, the villain is of course the dictatorial president of Belarus called Valis Avdukovich, played by the legendary Gary Oldman. Great villain in my opinion, and there's other great supporting characters as well in this as well. For example, Sonia Kincaid, Darius' wife, played by Salma Hayek, and also Amelia Russo, played by Elodie Young, and also as well Richard E. Grant's character, Mr. Seifert, and there's many other others too, yeah. It's definitely, a really good movie in my opinion, yeah, very good. And in my opinion, guys, it did not need sequels because in my opinion, it had a pretty good ending which did not set up any continuation whatsoever, in my opinion. Nothing at all. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, guys, there is only one Hitman's Bodyguard movie, to me, just one. And sadly, of course, however, 4 years later, this was deemed not to be because we got a sequel to this movie, which, of course, was definitely none other than Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Oh, man. This movie was absolutely abominable, but yeah. Let me tell you the story of how I first discovered this franchise, guys. So, I first heard of this sequel's existence when one of my very close YouTube friends, Don G. Corleone, posted on his Instagram that he was going to be watching this sequel last year in the summer. And that's when I first learned of these two films' existence, because I didn't even know what they were until he posted that about saying he's going to be watching the sequel. And in this post, guys, he said he was concerned about it because he said that in his opinion, this film did not need a sequel, and two, he's heard pretty bad things about it. So yeah, and based on what he thought of the film, he was definitely right to be concerned. Yeah, rightfully so, because I then heard his opinion on the movie when he included the sequel in his top 11 worst movies of 2021. So yeah, and he thought it was an awful, mean-spirited sequel. So yeah, now, upon hearing that, I was definitely concerned as well myself, really, if everyone's checked out these films. And in the new year, guys, I was one day browsing on Amazon Prime to see what was there to watch, and I noticed that both of these films were available to watch on there, so I thought I'd get into them, so I watched this movie. I had a really fun time with this movie, guys. I thought it was really fun, in my opinion, a nice guilty pleasure movie. However, when I saw the sequel for the first time, guys, I absolutely despised it. Oh my god, right? This sequel was absolutely abominable. Like Don G. Corleone said, it was very mean-spirited, beyond all belief. It was just absolutely atrocious, and one of the worst movies of last year I've ever seen. And also, well, probably as well, one of the all-time worst comedy sequels, and probably one of the worst sequels overall. It was abominable, in my opinion. It was just terrible. Really was, and was not even needed because this movie, in my opinion, had a nice ending, and it only works best, in my opinion, as just one movie alone. So yeah, and honestly, and what the sequel does, right? So when it comes to this movie, right? Of course, Ryan Reynolds comes back as Marco Bryce, and I think in this sequel, the idea of him using his Deadpool aspects in his comedy was unfortunately overshadowed a lot by the bad things, because in this film, guys, Michael Bryce is treated really badly because he's constantly beaten up, nearly killed or injured and pranked pretty much the whole movie. So this movie is just basically about bullying a Ryan Reynolds character. That's what it is. Like, that is just terrible, really. Like, you know, why would you do that? That's just ridiculous. And I don't get, you know, why they did this in the first place at all, especially because in the original movie, of course, if you recall in it, you know, Michael, of course, was wanting to not, you know, be a bodyguard. He was wanting to retire, and of course, because yeah, he's somehow still having his bodyguard license revoked, despite being hinted that he would regain it after the first movie. So yeah, like, really. And what's also worse, guys, is that this film also achieved the impossible of making me hate a Samuel L. Jackson character because his character in this movie, Darius Kincaid, is extremely unlikable and, like, absolutely annoying to sit through. Like, goodness me, right? He was really funny in the first movie, guys, you know. In this movie, he was funny, in my opinion, but in this movie, God, he was annoying. Like, oh my God, right? Every time he was being unlikable, I was, like, thinking, oh, shut up! Because he was so annoying. Like, when he was whining and complaining, being so unlikable, I wanted to turn off my TV, guys. Like, it was just abominable, really, what I was watching. And what's also stupid is, in this film, guys, Michael actually does break out Sonia from prison, you know, Sam Hate's character from the first film, who wasn't even supposed to be a main character to begin with, just a supporting character. And even though, you know, they never met in the first movie, she somehow knows who Michael is, so that makes absolutely no sense at all. And even though Michael went through all the hell to get her out of prison, Darius somehow, for no reason whatsoever, hates Michael. Like, as soon as they reunite after they've rescued him, like, he's so mean to Michael. Like, goodness me. Like, this movie really made me hate Darius as a character. Like, and I sadly regard it as Samuel L. Jackson's worst role I've seen. All in this movie, though, because I liked him in the first movie. But in the sequel, he was abominable. What's also bad as well is not only do they ruin, you know, Samuel L. Jackson's character, and they treat Ryan Reynolds' character really bad by bullying him. They also as well had many more stupid things. Like, it feels like a rehash of the original movie, just with more characters this time. It's pretty stupid. And also, when it comes to Sonia, in this movie, guys, not only do they make her, you know, of course, and one of the title characters, of course, the Hitman's wife, they also made her very annoying too. Goodness me. And she was constantly humiliating Michael, so that's why I did find it pretty satisfying how Michael yelled at them at one point. They definitely had it coming, you know, her and Darius, yeah. And they also as well introduced a villain called Aristotle, and sadly, guys, I unfortunately didn't not like Aristotle played by Antonio Banderas. He was very boring, lazy, and generic, really. Yeah. I mean, he may have been slightly more tolerable compared to his character in Uncharted, because I thought his character was very bad in Uncharted, guys, Antonio Banderas' character, but in this movie, guys, he was also pretty bad too, in my opinion. Because, yeah, oh my goodness. Like, no one near as great as Gary Oldman's villain character from the first movie, in my opinion. And you also have Frank Grillo being in this film, guys, you know, Crossbones from the MCU, and he didn't do much either. He was just there for filler purposes, really. Didn't contribute to the story, really, to be honest. And when it comes to new characters, they also as well introduce a character played by Morgan Freeman, who is Michael Bryce's stepfather. And also as well, when it comes to Morgan Freeman's character as well, you know, he's of course a villainous character, guys, but the thing is, you know, it's so easy to spot that he's going to be a villain, because when you first meet him in the movie, you can already tell that he's evil because he looks evil. So yeah, like, that was a pretty obvious plot twist right there from the very beginning. So yeah, ridiculous. And because of how mean-spirited this sequel is, guys, in my opinion, it barely felt funny either, because this film had plenty of funny moments, which makes me really enjoy it, whereas the sequel, in my opinion, was barely funny at all. Like, goodness me, it was just terrible, in my opinion. And one of the worst comedy sequels I've ever watched in my life. It was just a terrible movie. Really was. Like, honestly, goodness me. But thankfully, I did not waste my money on the sequel, because I watched Amazon Prime, guys. And And I, of course, as well got this on Blu-ray, the first movie. So, yeah. Because this movie was fun, in my opinion. So, yeah. And honestly, you know, this sequel is just terrible, guys. You know, in summary, what it does is it mistreats Ramos' character. It makes Samuel Jackson's character extremely unlikable in this movie. And they also ruined Sonya Kincaid as well in this. And she wasn't even supposed to be a big part of the story anyway, because she was only a supporting character in the original movie. So, yeah. And the action sequences are also very underwhelming and lame as well, in my opinion. I mean, sure, the original movie does have some familiar cliches, is in my opinion, but the sequel, in my opinion, overdoes it, really. It's just ridiculous. And it also has a very dumb ending as well, guys. A very dumb ending where where Sonya actually tricks Michael into signing adoption papers to make him the son of her and Darius. So, and that is just really dumb because Michael's in his 40s, guys, yeah. and unfortunately, it sets him up for more misery. So, I really hope they do not do a third movie, guys. I really hope, because yeah, honestly, it was just absolutely terrible sequel, in my opinion. And they better not do a third movie. If they do, I'm going to be furious, because this second installment was pretty bad. Was not needed, because in my opinion, The Hitman's Bodyguard to me is only one movie alone. So yeah, because I despise the sequel, guys. And if they do a third movie, guys, I'm not going to watch. I'll instead only rewatch the original movie. And I will probably post a review for this movie one day, guys. And I will also one day post a trash swap for a sequel, which means sad I've got to rewatch it. Ugh. But yeah. So, because yeah, compared to this movie, guys, which I give a very solid 8 out of 10 to, because I think it's a very fun movie to watch, I give the absolutely terrible sequel a very bad 3 out of 10. One of the worst movies of last year, in my opinion, because it was horrible, in my opinion. Just absolutely terrible. I mean, seriously, guys, right? If I wasn't doing this video right now to tell you why, in my opinion, this movie did not need a sequel, guys, I'd have probably turned off the Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard movie pretty early into it, yeah. I'd have probably turned off Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard probably around the time they made Darius very unlikable, maybe, because, yeah, that was just like character assassination right there, where the movie just died, in my opinion. So, yeah, I can only hope they don't do a third movie, guys. If they do, I'm not going to watch it. No way. Because in my opinion, the franchise has run its course. It should only be a standalone franchise of one movie alone, and that's it to me. So, yeah. There's no way I'm ever going to watch any more of this if they ever do them. Hopefully they won't do one. I really hope. Because, yeah. Because this movie, in my opinion, guys, did not need sequels. So, yeah. So, guys, this is me doing the next episode of Movie Didn't Need a Sequel, where I was covering why, in my opinion, The Hitman's Bodyguard from 2017 did not need a sequel. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let us know in the comments what you guys think of Hitman's Bodyguard. Do you think it needed a sequel or not? Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe for movies from the future. If you would like to be a member, you can restaurant if you're using Peace or Lads, or you can link in the description, and I'll see you all later.